All right, on Joe Rogan's podcast with one of his recent ones with comedian Tom Segura, who is funny. It's very funny. I've watched a lot of his stuff. It's very funny. But he and Rogan brought up, oh no, the Kanye Yay West. I don't know why I have to do that every time. Yay. But it feels right. Something feels right about it. New song titled HH, and it's him just repeating over and over and over, N-word, Hail Hitler. N-word, Hail Hitler. Just over and over and over. That's the song, okay? And I'm about to levy quite a bit of criticism about the catastrophe of logic and intellect that is the argument laid out here by Rogan, and why it's not just him, but people thinking this way is detrimental. But first, let's back up. And I do just want to say, both of them talking about this, another reason I think it's valuable to analyze is because this is how people, which is why I think Rogan's podcast got so popular, sort of just talk about things, right? And so I do think Rogan, when he's exploring some of these ideas, despite how many horrendously negative things I've said about him, it is him coming at these things in good faith, which is why we should be concerned with it, because other people who are just kind of exploring the world, the fact that in good faith people could go, oh, but is there something more profound about the fact that Kanye did that disgusting song, right? That being something some people are coming to the conclusion of, as you can imagine, is so terrible. But if some people who are just kind of exploring concepts in good faith are doing that, then we have a problem. And so I do want to say that up front. I don't think he's maliciously saying this just because he also likes Hitler or something. I think it's because of a huge misunderstanding or willful ignorance. Okay, so let's start here. You can see off the bat, Tom Segura, his guest, is kind of like, hey, maybe that's bad. Hey, Hitler's bad, right? Like, we still think that. And Rogan's like, yeah, but this is a sign of the times. And there might be something more to Kanye repeating that phrase over and over, which is what we'll address.
Speaking of the Jews, have you seen fucking Kanye's new?
Speaking of the Jews, oh gosh. Oh no. That never ends well. Oh gosh. I've never heard that sentence go well. Speaking of the Jews, here we go.
Speaking of the Jews, have you seen fucking Kanye's new song?
Bro.
What?
Here's the thing.
What?
My
First of all, kind of catchy.
Well, that's the problem with it. That's the problem. It's
Yeah.
like the guy from production, like he's never lost a step. He can make a beat. He can, like, he's so talented.
He's a genius.
He's a talented producer, man. I do think it's like, when, first of all, I think people are kind of done asking him questions, because most of the shit he puts out is like self-release kind of commentary or thoughts. Because he's saying just fucking crazy, you know.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
But there is a thing where that song is like, what are you doing, dude? Like, for what are you doing for real?
It's the ultimate pushing back.
Yeah, I guess. But there is like I think I have a pretty, you know, let things go kind of vibe to me. Right?
Obviously.
Yeah,
your fucking
right? Like,
show.
Yeah, like,
your show's ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous show. And I've always been like, yeah, say whatever you're going to say. But I do think like making a catchy song about that, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're just getting, at a minimum, you're just going to get more.
So I remember watching this and being like, okay, now there's already, speaking of the Jews, you know, first of all, it's catchy. It's sort of like, first of all, it might be catchy, but first of all, I feel like there's something else, first of all. But I was watching this thinking, okay, all right. I think they might be heading the right direction, which is, this is bad. Which is a crazy thing. We're trying to just get people to say, this is bad, right? But then we take a little Yui.
About that, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're just getting, at a minimum, you're just going to get more people that think it's cool to say Heil Hitler. Like, that's at the minimum.
Well, I think that's part of the program. I think it's part of what he's trying to do.
But, I mean, is that cool to do? I guess if you're like, well, it's fun to troll the masses and get them to do that, okay. But what I'm saying is that, like, at a minimum, you're going to get less educated people to go like, this is a fun thing to say. And you're like, I mean, is that good? You really want people just walking around being like, you know, it's tight, man? Heil Hitler. Like, that's fucking insane. It's crazy.
It is crazy. But
all right. So, whew, good. Can y'all stop there? The best thing, not the best, the least harm this will do is getting more people to think it's acceptable. I don't mean legally. Legally you can in the United States, but acceptable culturally, socially, morally to go around saying that phrase. And that's harmful. You make a catchy song to a reference to you applauding a murderous dictator who took the lives of millions of innocent people and started mass death across, this world war. That it's funny to go, oh yeah, hail him. Right? So that we feel like we're in the right spot, and then
But it's also kind of a sign of the times.
I guess.
Yeah. This is a chaotic world we're living in.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this kind of highlights the benefits. I mean, I want to say this like carefully because I don't want to think I want to say real clearly. I don't support people saying that. I don't think it's a good thing to say.
No.
I don't say it. I certainly don't think any racism is good. I don't think anti-Semitism is good. I don't think anti-Christianity is good. I don't think Asian hate is good. I don't think anything is good. But there's a benefit to just letting people talk. Like, let people say whatever the fuck they want to say, even if it sucks. This is the benefit of Twitter. But this is also the bad part. It's like the fucking song has so many millions of hits on Twitter. It's been banned from every platform.
Yeah.
But is it good to ban things from platforms, or is it better to let it be out there and let people talk about it? Because if you ban it, then people want to hear it more.
That's true.
And then it becomes more popular, and then it kind of supports what he says, which is that there's this concerted effort, if you talk about Jewish people, that they're going to remove you from everything, remove you from banking, which is what he's saying. They run everything. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't, like if it was just, you were talking...
They who? Oh. Maybe I take back my he's not being malicious thing. They Jewish people? I'm going to address everything he said as we get to the end, but
talking shit about Puerto Ricans. Look what happened to Tony. Nothing.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's certain people that you're allowed to pick on and make jokes about or mock or say something, and you can get away with it.
Yeah. Well, I think he's made his point. I think we all get it now.
It's never going to end.
Yeah.
But how does it end? This is the question. When I was watching that song, first of all, I was by myself. When I first saw the song, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Yeah. No.
It's like, no way. And I'm watching it on my phone. I'm like, yo. And then my first thought was, how does this end? Mm-hmm. Because this ends. This is going to end. There's going to come a time where they're going to realize, like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So how does it end? Does it end in assassination? Does it end in...
There's definitely people that want to kill him.
Financial ruin?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know what his financial situation is. I know that, like, there's been all these... Over the last 5 years, there's been times where...
I don't think I watched the end of this clip. My goodness, that went even more off the rails than I thought it had. I think he's... Okay. Oof. I have a core point that I've been wanting to make about this, but now there's more points, I guess, which is he's saying mockery of jokes about targeting of certain identity groups evokes a stronger reaction from the public than others. So the example he gave was when Tony Hinchcliffe, I think, whenever he made the comment about Puerto Rico and trash, that didn't impact his career like Kanye saying the stuff that he has about Jewish people. Now, some of this you could, and this is what happens a lot whenever people perpetuate, as it seemed like he was alluding to there with the usage of they, debanking him and stuff, and they controlled you with just a thoughtful examination of the topic you're talking about and history. You understand why these conspiracies are so harmful, not attached to reality, and why people might have a stronger reaction towards jokes about Jewish people compared to a different group, based off of how they perceive it connects to history and how things got as bad as they did throughout history, right? So you can disagree with, you should have the same reaction with but that's kind of a little bit of context on it, if that's his genuine question. And this isn't about joking too, because he used the Hinchcliffe example. While it was gross what Hinchcliffe said, it was, there's a floating pile of trash in, the ocean, and it's called Puerto Rico or something. And people were justifiably upset by that. He was literally standing up there doing stand-up. So it's like, bad joke, denounce it. But the reason his career moves on the way that it does is because it was clearly him trying to make a joke that was really bad. Kanye's not making jokes. He's just saying he hates Jewish people, right? So pure hate as compared to someone missing the mark or sometimes covering up their hate with jokes are different too. So that's another important part of his kind of questions there as he's asking them. And I do want to engage with them, as uncomfortable or in some cases hate-induced as some of these questions can seem. I want to engage with them because we just leave them floating. Then people go get the answers from the wrong people with the wrong, not factual answers. And so the last part of this is, it's this point that you keep hearing about Kanye saying a phrase that has attached to it more atrocities than maybe any other phrase, right? Represents something so terrible, so uniquely and purely terrible. And the defenders either go, I defend it because I'm a Nazi, right? So that can't really help you. Sorry. But the other people, like Rogan's not a Nazi. He would say, I'm not defending it because I like it, as he specified. He's against Asian hate, black hate, white hate, gay hate, trans hate, right? He's against racism. That's so funny. Listen, I'm against racism. Black people, Jewish people, an Indian person, I'd be against racism to them. Did I say Asian already? I'd be against racism to them. It's sort of like, it's just a funny sequence. But there's this idea, and that's where a lot of people are coming from with this gross, societally destructive, catastrophic defense of Kanye's song, which is, no, I'm not defending what he's saying, but he's only saying what he's saying to prove that he should be allowed to say even that without being censored. And since his brutal anti-Semitism before has led to him being censored, it's a genius statement about our times, as you kind of heard Rogan allude to. That's what he's trying to articulate. But there's a lot of important context on even that too, because the whole he's being censored, the government's not locking Kanye up for what he's saying. Platforms are just going to have, and trust me, all the right wingers would not want to be on the type of platforms when they don't have any terms of service. You need some terms of service. Otherwise, it's just filth you'd be seeing. Disgusting stuff you wouldn't want on your feed. Yes, words, but also images and videos. And you're going to have some terms of service. And everyone agrees with that if they really think about it long enough. These private platforms have the right to do that. That's their free speech right, is to regulate their own platform because they're a private company. They can do that. And everyone will want it for these platforms to even be usable. And so in regulating their own platforms, they can say, oh, if you go out there and just say a bunch of hateful stuff to Jewish folks, because we want Jewish folks to want to use the platform, just like how we want other folks to use the platform, we're going to restrict your, account or ban you. That's just all. Everyone's doing the thing they have the right to do. Kanye has the right to say that, as terrible as it is. The outlets have a right to regulate. Okay, then they say, well, no, it went further than that. Banks, right, and companies were cutting him off. Again, I think it was like JP Morgan Chase stopped wanting to do business with him because of the stuff he was saying, because it was overtly hateful. And they care about their brand. He cares about his brand. They care about their brand. And you're allowed, again, you have a right as a business to say, we don't want to do business with you. Do they steal all of his money? No, you just transfer your money out of that financial institution in such a case when you're debanked, as they say. And then they use a different example to make it, again, seem like this conspiracy. Well, no, the IRS froze his funds in a separate incident. Kanye admitted, which this is how U.S. law works, that he had $50 million owed to the IRS. $50 million owed to the IRS. Your bank account's gonna get frozen. Okay, let me just clarify that. That's how that works. Okay, so don't not pay the IRS $50 million. Pay your taxes, kids. So that's a separate incident, and that kind of builds this world of victimhood that he's in. As he victimizes others, he is the ultimate victim. So much so, he's able to articulate that that even the Rogans of the world, and Segura kind of went silent for a while, like, what are you doing, Joe? But they are so blinded by their hatred of these platforms and of mainstream media and of mainstream consensuses that now they'll defend anything that enrages those people, right? So if the left and the censors are upset by Kanye, even if they really know that Hitler's terrible, hopefully, they go, but he's trying to make a point about how he's going to say the worst thing because you can't censor people. I don't even know. But he's proving he's not censored by saying that. Yes, Spotify they have a full right to not put your song on there. That's their right. Otherwise, they wouldn't have their free speech and free expression and free business regulation rights. And so everyone's operating with it. You're not losing the rights that you think that you do. But then this justification is why they're okay with Trump actually taking away people's free speech rights, actually going after CBS, actually going after these college students, and actually violating, because the government's doing it. As he said, the government should come down hard on MSNBC. The government's doing the thing that is a violation of the First Amendment. But I'm scared. We were talking today. I'm like, every time I scroll through Twitter, I'm like, oh no. Where is this headed? Because people are really convincing themselves. And as Tom Segura said, what this is going to do is make more and more people think, hey, it's cool to joke about that, or it's fine. And that normalizes it. And eventually it gets worse. And we're seeing it get worse. It gets worse. As it pertains to anti-Semitism or other forms of hate as well. And so I don't know how many, I've done this before. In my heart, I like to believe, yeah, if you really could logically explain to it and not just scream, you're hateful. Because like some of the stuff that was being said there as he started talking about, it's like you just want to go, stop, you're ignorant. But people needed to be explained. Hopefully that's the problem. And so this is me trying, which is, it's actually not the world that you think it is for someone like Kanye. It's him doing what he has the legal right to do and other people reacting in the ways they have the legal right to do as well, which is not wanting to associate with him. Because yes, we have the free expression right to go, you're disgusting, you're horrible. And I don't want to, if I was in charge at, a financial institution, or if I was in charge of a social media outlet and I was overseeing regulations, I would say, I don't want my brand associated with you. And that would be my right. And so you can be upset by that, but there's no profound point. There's no pushback against the powerful. There's just a hateful song. That's all is really left when you think about it, level-headedly, without screaming at each other. It's just people trying to rationalize someone who's deeply unwell and has become a Nazi, which y'all know I rarely use that term. I think I've only really used it with maybe Kanye and Nick Fuentes. And at some point, why is it so cool now in the right to jump to, we have to defend Kanye, instead of using those free speech rights you have, as he's using clearly right now, to speak out against it? Because we all have the right to say, I don't think that's so bad. That's kind of a bop. But you know what you also have the right to say? And I think you have the moral obligation to. That's disgusting. That's not censorship. That's just you using your rights, which is to speak out against it. Because hate is able to flourish when a lot of people just apologize for it, who themselves aren't as consumed by that hate. I'll leave it there. Thank you all for watching and listening. I'll talk to you next time.